It is no secret that Sony has been absolutely killing it when it comes to home console sales. PS4 has already surpassed 100 million units, PS3 sold pretty well despite a rough launch, and PS2, that still holds a ridiculous record. Unfortunately, Sony hasn't seen a similar success with portable consoles. I have both PSP and PS Vita, and I actually really like both consoles and their construction. Unfortunately, they never could surpass Nintendo's own portable console endeavors with DS and 3DS. So now Sony's flat out saying they're giving up on portable consoles entirely, according to this interview that Game Informer conducted with President and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, Jim Ryan. This is an interview that was conducted as part of the 25th anniversary celebration of PlayStation, and when asked about a successor to PlayStation Vita, here's what Jim Ryan had to say. Quote, PlayStation Vita was brilliant in many ways, and the actual gaming experience was great, but clearly it's a business that we're no longer in now. This is a topic that's been covered before, and in previous instances, Sony has cited one particular reason for why they're out of dedicated portable gaming consoles. This is something that IGN recounted in this article, so here's a quote from back in 2016 when Jack Tretton spoke to IGN about the future of portable gaming consoles and the state of Vita. He said, now that I don't work there anymore, I think internally it was, this is a great machine, it's just too late. The world has shifted to portable devices that aren't dedicated gaming machines. Many of you will recall that when it comes to PlayStation Vita, support for that console was dropped pretty quickly. Sony released a couple relatively high-profile titles, but then after that they didn't support it enough, so 3DS, even though that console also had a rough launch, eventually took over and went to sell pretty decently with a strong library of games, and that's what was missing from Vita. This article also cites a quote from 2015 in which then SCE Worldwide Studios president Shuhei Yoshida said that a successor to the PS Vita would be unlikely as, quote, the climate is not healthy due to the dominance of mobile gaming. So in both of these quotes in 2015 and 2016, it is referenced that the reason for giving up on portable gaming consoles is because mobile gaming has taken over and made that more difficult. It's made the portable gaming consoles market less tenable, is what they seem to be implying. And this is just something that I cannot agree with, especially when you look at how well the Nintendo Switch is doing. So here is a tweet by Game Daily in which they highlighted just how well Switch continues to sell. Now, yes, you could argue that Switch is a hybrid between portable console and home console, but it is, at the end of the day, a portable device that allows you to connect to a TV, but functions just as well if you take the console on the go. And then you look at how Nintendo released a portable-only version of the Switch Lite, and it's pretty easy to consider the Nintendo Switch as more of a portable console than a dedicated home console, even though it is a combination. And as reported by Game Daily here, the Switch continues to see very strong sales despite being largely a portable console. The Switch sold 830,000 units over Thanksgiving week, and it's iterated right here that this is the best ever week of sales in the US for Nintendo Switch. So the momentum hasn't slowed down, it's still selling strong. And why? Well, that's because Nintendo Switch has a great library of games that keeps pumping out games that people desire. That's what was missing from Vita. Look, I'm not going to say that mobile gaming hasn't disrupted aspects of the dedicated portable consoles market, but to say that mobile gaming is the sole contributing factor to a dedicated portable gaming console no longer being viable is, I think, misguided. There is still very much a market for portable consoles when you look at Switch. The fact of the matter is that mobile gaming does not offer the level of gameplay depth that you'll find in a dedicated console, and that's why there will always be a market for devices like Vita and Switch, but it's just a matter of ensuring that the hardware is supported by the software, and that's why Switch is selling so well. Nintendo decided that they would create a portable console that can also kind of act as a home console and put all of their games in there. And because people know that they can't find games on Switch anywhere else, because people know that if you want to play games like Mario Odyssey, Pokemon Sword and Shield, if you want to play Zelda Breath of the Wild, and all of these exclusive games that the Switch is outputting, you have to get this console. And so people are flocking towards it because it's just got really good games. You also look at the 3DS, and that console had a very rough launch, and it wasn't until the game releases began to pick up that 3DS began to gain momentum. So Nintendo didn't give up on the 3DS, and as a result, it ended up selling a decent amount of units despite that rough launch. Whereas Vita, Sony saw the rough launch and they went, I don't know, mobile gaming, guys, it's disrupting our market. Let's just give up on this. Instead of leveraging the power of dedicated portable gaming and doing their best to support the product with new titles that people wouldn't be able to resist, that's how you push hardware units. I can tell you right now that the people playing Angry Bird on mobile aren't the people that have been buying PS Vita and PSP and the DS and the 3DS. While it is less likely that casual gamers will buy a portable dedicated console because they have mobile games, there is still a market for those hardcore gamers who want to take their games on the go. There are millions of us out there who are excited for that kind of portable gaming experience. Even home consoles can fail if you don't support it with compelling games. Just look at the Wii U. That console flopped because not only was that woefully mismarketed, but it took a while before the games started coming in. And then you look at Xbox One, which is nowhere close to selling as much as the PlayStation 4, and you'll see that it all bogs down to software. Xbox One didn't sell poorly because the market was disrupted and people don't want home consoles anymore. It's simply because the Xbox One isn't the home for the best, most compelling games out there right now. The PlayStation 4 is, let's face it. And the same goes for 3DS versus Vita. The 3DS just had better games. The PS Vita just offered very little in terms of software, so it was constantly sitting there collecting dust for me. And for other people, they just couldn't justify spending all that money on the PlayStation Vita. Not to mention that there were additional costs with PS Vita, like that custom memory card that you had to get separately. A combination of all of these different factors is what prevented PS Vita from becoming a financial success. It was just poorly planned and poorly supported. That's it. I also think that the PS Vita failed because it didn't have enough inputs to create that experience of a home console game on a portable console. It didn't have the trigger buttons, only had shoulder buttons, didn't have clickable analog sticks. It had that gimmicky trackpad on the back and it had a touch screen, but they weren't enough to make up for the fact that it was just lacking a lot of the buttons that modern games needed in order to be playable in a way that felt intuitive. Look, I'm not saying that breaking into the dedicated portable gaming market is easy, especially with Nintendo having such a strong foothold in it, but the fault doesn't lie with mobile gaming. That's not the reason PS Vita died, and that shouldn't be the reason to stop making dedicated portable gaming consoles. It's one thing to say we want to focus our efforts on home consoles, but it's a whole other thing to blame the mobile gaming market for all of PS Vita's woes when there were so many blunders on Sony's end that led to PS Vita's failure. Whereas Nintendo, they push the Switch in a very smart way and have all of their software be dedicated to what is basically a dedicated portable console. You're just going to get better games out of dedicated portable gaming because they're not made to be cash grabs. People take their development seriously, whereas with mobile games, it's all, microtransactions and loot box crap or half-assed sort of releases that feel like a shadow of what you can get on a dedicated console. And as long as that continues to be the case, the market for portable gaming will continue to be something that people will gravitate towards. Even if it's not everyone, there is enough people, there are millions of people who are willing to buy a Switch because they know the games there are better than what you can find on mobile. And that there are going to be very specific games on these dedicated portable gaming consoles that you cannot find anywhere else and that you just have to play because they're so freaking good. But yeah, with this, it's safe to say that PlayStation, Sony is exiting the handheld console race. Mobile gaming was disruptive, but it certainly didn't kill the handheld consoles market. It certainly wasn't what killed Vita. But that's just one man's take on PlayStation no longer being interested in handheld consoles. Let me know in the comments below what you think about some of the things people within PlayStation, the executives, have said about why they no longer want to be in this race, whether you agree or disagree. Drop a comment below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.